I 100% agree with that. That was, when you talk about like being there for the community and we have to unite, I think now is a perfect time and it's like eye opening for Arabs across the world, in my opinion. We shouldn't be fighting with each other and we should really unite for what we believe is right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the OBH podcast. This is our introduction episode to the podcast. My name is Jafar Abdullah, and I'm the Director of Public Relations.
Hello, my name is Abbas, and I'm the co-director of recruitment.
My name is Ziad. I'm the president.
My name is Mohsen, and I'm the vice president.
I'm Akram Rashid, and I am an advisor for OBH.
My name is Rida Mazah, and I'm the other co-director of recruitment.
Okay, so to start, we want to talk about what OBH is. We want to give you our mission statement, and Ziad will be delighted to talk about that.
Okay, so I'm going to read a little bit about our mission statement. Omega Beta Eta is one of the first Arab fraternities in the world that intends to not only bring together Arab brothers to empower each other, but also build necessary inclusion into a university space that often disenters our Arab voice, presence, history, and contributions to diversity on campus, especially with what we've seen this year, and especially like for the past 4 months with everything that's been happening. Like OBH is meant to be there for every Arab person on campus. We're always there for support in any way we can. We always try our best to make sure everyone is comfortable on campus, and if they need anything, we're a foundation and an organization to fall to.
So, with that being said, our mission statement, I want to know what OBH means to you guys, honestly.
So I think with Ziad, I agree 1,000% in the sense that, no matter what anyone any views anyone has on us, right? We want everyone to know that we know that these times are hard, and we've been going through these hard times too, right? Collectively as a group. It's difficult on everyone right now, and we're here if you guys need anything, right? I think as a community we need to be one. We need to be united, right? We need to be unified as Arab people. And hopefully this right here is a step towards that, a step to uniting everyone, because we want this just as much as everyone else.
I 100% agree with that. That was, when you talk about like being there for the community and we have to unite, I think now is a perfect time and it's like eye opening for Arabs across the world, in my opinion. We shouldn't be fighting with each other and we should really unite for what we believe is right. Does anyone have anything else to say about that?
I think OBH, to add on to that point, is that we keep talking about uniting, and we keep talking about how all the Arabs and all the people that, have the same, or not, I don't want to say same view, but have a shared understanding of our Arab heritage. We keep talking about uniting for the past 100 years, and it hasn't happened. And I think it hasn't happened because people have these ideas about the other, even though we're the same culture to an extent, and they refuse to interact with people who are different than themselves, even inside the Arab culture and Arab community, and they group up into groups. And I know OBH is a group, but it's a group that brings everyone, no matter who you are, no matter what you stand for, on religious perspective, on country perspective, what country you're from. We come here together and we build this friendship, and then we build this brotherhood where I can talk about things that, Jafar or Rida or Abbas doesn't agree with, and we're able to talk about it and talk about the different perspectives that we have on it. And I think that's what OBH is for me.
That really goes in line with reverence. That's one of our fraternal pillars. deep respect for you and deep respect for someone else, especially in what you believe in.
I want to kind of trickle back to what Akram said about like people's perspectives on other ethnicities within like the Arab and Middle Eastern region. So as someone who grew up with two parents that are completely different, like culturally, my father's Iraqi, my mom's Lebanese. I always felt like in school with my Lebanese friends, I was like, oh, like you're Iraqi, so you're not fully Lebanese. And then like with my Iraqi friends, I didn't speak the Iraqi dialect, so I wasn't Iraqi enough. And then, so like when you have a platform in like a unit like OBH, it's kind of like, you know, when we say like Lions Without Borders, which is Usud Bala Hudud, our like fraternal motto, it's like to the fullest extent because we have people that, you know, are Arab or Arab adjacent. We have, you know, people who are Persian who have been in this fraternity. I've met people that, you know, completely different ethnicities and cultures, like for example Egyptian. My line brother Ahmad, he was Egyptian. I haven't really engaged with an Egyptian. I learned like a lot about Egyptian culture and living in Egypt because he like, you know, immigrated from Egypt to America for college. So I feel like in every aspect, like OBH is kind of like breaking those borders in the sense that we're all Arab at the end of the day. We're all like, you know, very proud of our heritage. I could say for me, like I'm the son of immigrants, I'm a first generation, stuff like that. So like even if we don't have common experiences, we still have that deep rooted love and respect for our culture, our heritage, and our traditions.
Yeah, and to add on to that, I think an important part of what does bring us together is the fact that we're all Arab, right? It being a Arab fraternity, right? The main focus being Arab, you explore so many different like avenues of being Arab just by being so close to these people around you, hearing their perspectives on life, right? Hearing their definitions of what it means to be Arab. And all it does is grow your identity because you understand it on a deeper extent, right? And I think that's we are a group, right? As Akram was saying, we are a group. We are sectioned off to the side, but we're a group because we've gone through this experience together. We have that shared connection of this experience, and that experience was finding out our identity between each other, right? With each other's helps.
Another thing for OBH that I honestly like saw when I crossed is the fact that OBH was more than an experience to all of us. It was actually a way of life at the same time. You go through an experience, you learn a lot together, you grow together. And this is something that I want to emphasize, brotherhood. This is something OBH has provided to me, to myself, for example. As a lot of you guys don't know, but the people here, obviously, I came to the US in 2019. I transferred from the UK. I was studying computer science. My credits didn't transfer. I had to start back at freshman level. I moved to Virginia. I started at Northern Virginia Community College freshman year, transferred to Henry Ford for second year, got my associates, transferred to Michigan.
And what age did you come to the US?
I was 19. I was 19.
Okay.
When
So
I
it's
came
been a
here.
journey, huh?
Yep, it's been a journey, especially like for someone who like all my boys, like everyone, all the people I've ever knew, the way I used to know like what life is, like how my life used to be, my routine, everything was not here, and here is very different. So like imagine like I had to leave a whole life that I used to have, and a whole life, a whole lot of people that I used to know, a lot of like everything. My whole life was there. I don't have anyone here to begin with. The only people I have here are the people that came with me, which are like my two siblings and my parents.
You know, Ziad, me and you talked about this a lot.
Yeah.
Me, you and Ammar, because I remember we used to remember when you used to live on North Campus and
Yep.
how we'd sit down in the car and talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about this because we had like a lot. This is what's beautiful about OBH is there's so many experiences that you find someone who had an experience like yours.
Exactly.
And I moved to America like later at like 15 years old, right? And me and Ziad would sit there and talk about how there's always something missing when you move, you know, because you moved from like where you grew up, you moved from the people that you're around. You just never kind of feel at home. And then me and Ziad would talk about how being around OBH and being in OBH and being with all the OBH guys brings back that feeling of being at home. Wallah, we talked about this like a few times. Do you remember, Ziad?
Of course I do. We used to always sit down because like that was my first year, like 2 here. So like Akram was this comes back to the story where like how I found OBH. It was actually through Akram. If it wasn't for Akram, I can honestly say I would not have met these amazing people, and I haven't have met like this brotherhood that made me who I am today too. But yeah.
Okay, I think honestly that was great, and I could, for both of you guys coming from the Middle East and Lebanon and Jordan, I think, would you guys be able to say that you could call this home? That OBH has built a home for you, not only in like America, but in like this campus at the University of Michigan?
So home, I'd say it's more that the people than the place. Because obviously, like all of us are students here. No, you don't know where like you're off to. But what I can know is what I do know is whenever I'm with my brothers, that's home. Like it gave me a place to relate to, a place to belong, a place to like actually sit down and not have to worry about anything. Because like the people I'm with, like I can rely on the people I'm with anything.
And what's crazy is you guys are saying like leaving Jordan and Lebanon, right, and coming here, you guys found home here, right? But my perspective on it, growing up in Dearborn my whole life, right, I knew what my culture was. I knew what it meant to be Arab, but at like a very base level extent, right? There was good like culture in my family, but it was still different than the genuine experience of being Arab in an Arab country. So when you guys came here, you guys showed me what home was, right? And I don't know it well. So you guys gave me like the view of actual, like, you know, Arab living there, the full experience, the stories you guys tell me and everything. It just opens my eyes up a lot more.
You know, also, I feel like I could resonate with, you know, Akram and Ziad and Urad at the same time. I grew up in Dearborn, so very, very, like, Arab-centered community. But I also used to spend my summers in the Middle East until, like, age 16. I would go every summer to Iraq and Lebanon. So I feel like, you know, excuse me, I feel like I lived, like, I would say, like, 3 months out of the year in the Middle East, but I also grew up in Dearborn, where again, very Arab. So I feel like I've seen both sides, you know, living in America and being around the Arab community compared to, like, you know, being in a Middle Eastern country and actually living the Arab lifestyle of, like, you know, the I don't know what's the word for them in English, but the souks, we call it in Iraq, like these big roads of, like, you know, just straight stores,
Markets.
yeah, markets, stuff like that. So, like, experiencing, like, you know, the lifestyle of, like, being in these markets, seeing, like, the hustle of these merchants and, like, trying to live, like, you know, try to provide in, like, a country like Iraq that just came out of, like, you know, years of occupation and stuff like that. The economy's bad and stuff like that. And then you come back to America where, like, it's kind of privileged. You know, you experience the Arab lifestyle, but you live in, like, you know, a first world country. So I feel like, you know, when I have conversations with, like, you know, Jafar or Rida, I could talk about, you know, my life in the sense of Dearborn and, like, you know, connecting with my Arab heritage from a young age. But then when I have conversations with, like, you know, Akram or Ziad, I could talk about, like, you know, the experience of being back home. Like, what is home? You know what I mean? And, like, it's kind of like people say, like, the smell or, like, the wind of, like, the Middle East is different. And, like, I truly believe that because like I don't know, like it's just like some sort of warmth that I feel like, you know, when I actually am physically in the Middle East.
You know, I think I have a bit of a unique experience on that one. I grew up most of my life. I lived in the UAE, but I'm Lebanese. I'm from Lebanon, so UAE isn't really home to me, even though it's where I grew up. And I came back to Dearborn, and that honestly for the first couple of years didn't really feel like home. I came at the end of middle school. I spent all of high school. It didn't really feel like home either. So for a lot of my time, I was lost. And then I came here, and that's when like OBH gave me a home. Like I could somewhere I could finally feel comfortable, and somewhere where I know, like if anything changes in the next couple of years, if I move somewhere else, I'll still have them. And that was really evident to me, especially this year. A lot of my line had graduated the year before, and a lot of people I knew had graduated the year before. And even now, like, we all still talk. Whenever they're back home, we see each other. It just feels natural. It feels like a genuine like a blood brother. It feels in the same way that we keep in touch and keep connected. That's really what home is to me. It's the only thing that's been permanent to me in my life.
I mean, you guys have great stories about the Middle East. I was born in America. Me and Rita grew up together in Dearborn. I'm from Lebanon. Like my family immigrated from Lebanon during the war, but I've never visited Lebanon, the Middle East, nowhere. So when you guys actually tell me stories about it, it really gets me excited to go back and visit. And really, like at this age, like I really want to spend some time there, so I could really relate to you guys and even like tell you, because you guys haven't been there in a long time, right? Like it's been
I haven't been there since like COVID started, so it's
Yeah.
been like a good couple of years.
I actually went to Jordan in October for the first time in 5 years.
really. How was it different than
It was
you remember?
beautiful, man. It was so much
Yeah.
different because you have this idea of it from like 5 years ago when you were like 15, 16 years old. And then you go back and you're a different person and it's a different place.
Yeah.
Do you still get that feeling of nostalgia? I mean, I've never been back since I was 14. I haven't been back overseas at all, and I have a sense of nostalgia, a sense of like familiarity with everything that's over there. Is that sense still there?
I think that's what Muhsin was also talking about, the idea of like that smell, man. That like smell of the Middle East. Like Muhsin couldn't explain it. I couldn't explain it either. It just feels like warmth, like comfort, and it's not even like anything. You just walk down the street, you literally get out of the building and you step outside and you just get hit with this like feeling of warmth for some reason. And I still have it, yes, and I know exactly what you're like feeling, man.
Is it just that like you feel comfortable?
You feel
You know what I
comfortable,
mean?
man.
You feel safe almost?
Yes, bro.
Like I'm not saying on a literal like sense you're safe, but you just feel safe in every aspect.
Like I even smell it now every time I hop in a Mercedes. Let me tell you,
Yeah.
I think they make all their leather the same everywhere in the world,
Yeah.
and it takes me back to my grandpa's Mercedes in
Yeah,
Lebanon.
man.
We used to take that everywhere.
You know-
we went through all of Lebanon in
It's
that
just those
Mercedes. I still
memories.
remember.
It's
a lot.
the
You know what the
memories.
closest thing I think I got into
Yeah.
is you feel like you belong, man. You feel like you actually belong.
You feel like you're supposed to be there.
Yeah.
Like you're around, and like not in a like racist or nationalistic way, but you're around like your people,
Yeah, I get what you mean.
And I don't know, man. I think that's what the closest thing I've ever gotten into.
Listen, especially like for example, like taking me for example, like I've been there like since I have like a home, like a house in like Beirut, and like I went to school there. I used to go out there. I used to have a whole bunch of friends there, like a whole ass life there. But like I came here for 3 years and I never went back until after that. The tragic event that happened in downtown Beirut.
You're talking about the port, right?
That was
Yeah.
2021.
Yep,
End of
it was in 2020.
2020.
Yep. I went for December 2020, 2021. Spent New Year's over there. And that the it was something else completely. So I left when the dollar was 1,500 Lebanese lira, and I went back when the dollar was 85,000. I went back when like I used to go to downtown Beirut to go shopping, to go out with my friends, watch a movie. I went back to everything on the ground, to rubbles. I used to go to Mar Mikhail because like all everything was there, and like the food, everything. There was a whole street. Um, it was like for people to go out and everything. Now everything was closed. Everything was on the grounds. Everything was in rubbles. It was a tragic thing. The place that I used to call home before changed completely, but it's still that feeling that you guys were talking about, that feeling of nostalgia. The minute I dropped home, I still felt like that feeling that why did I leave? Why how did I go all the way like 100,000 miles away from where I like grew up? Like all my everything I know, my language, like what I speak, everything, how I think, it's all the people around me. So like living here just gives you like a whole different perspective on life as well. Because I can honestly say too, like living here is also a privilege.
Yes.
Because this is something that a lot of people like don't really talk about, but like living here is a privilege. People that live there they're not living a normal life. They're not at all. That just gives you that other perspective of like what like your parents have gone through to like get you to this life, to give you this what you have right now. Like you can either take it as that or take it as an opportunity.
I think something that we don't consider often is the culture here versus how it is back home. Like yes, the standard of living might be a little lower overseas, but I think because of that, like everyone is just so much more welcoming, so much more open. I feel like here we tend to be like closed off. I mean, we have it nice because we live in we have like Arab around us. We live in a tight knit community, but I think that's the true difference between here and there.
Yeah.
Is the sense of like you feel welcome over there.
You guys bring up great points about privilege, and one thing I'll say is gratefulness. And I want to talk about gratefulness in a little bit, but I first want to introduce the podcast and what we're doing with it. So you guys all brought up what OBH meant to you. It brought you together, and you in this time especially, we have to unite each other. One thing we want to do with the podcast is bring more exposure to us, but also unite everyone on this campus and even Arabs across the world. What we want to do with this podcast is have two kinds of episodes. The first kind of episode will be like an interview, bringing on big Arab like speakers and like doctors and people who are knowledgeable in different fields to come and talk, and we could have a conversation with them. The other kind of episode will be episodes with just the brothers, just us, where we want to talk about the history, our experiences, what we're doing as OBH, and basically just like who we are as Arabs, like what makes us Arab and why we are actually proud to be Arab. The next thing I want to go on to is gratefulness. And what is gratefulness? So with the things happening now around the world, there's people oppressed all across the world, South America, Africa, the Middle East, people in Armenia, as Mohsen was telling me earlier. These people don't have the outlet for internet. They can't wake up every single day and breathe a sigh of relief that like, oh, I get to wake up and not have fear of anything, right? So if you are a person listening to this, you are probably one who should be grateful of your privilege of being safe in your homes and having access to the internet, basically.
I think the internet is a big thing. Like even the fact that we're able to communicate with our relatives, overseas and stuff like that. Like we're able to see all that's happening, right?
But we don't have to go through it.
Like, we don't. You're right. We don't.
And
We could just sit back and watch, right? Almost.
but with that, we don't have to go through it. But
It's
like
still
it's our job. It's our
still-
job
it
to bring exposure to
It is.
any oppression across the world.
And I think with
Any
how
wrongdoings.
everything's been going recently, media has been a good outlet in getting the truth out, and I've been seeing that a lot. So I think with this podcast, hopefully that's something we could push forward.
took them a minute though.
Yep. So I brought up gratefulness, and I don't only want to extend it to people who have access to the internet or who are safe in like first world countries. Pretty much anyone. And I'd like to tell you a Taoist story of an old farmer who had worked his crops for many years. One day his horse ran away. And when he heard this news, his neighbor came to visit, and his neighbor told him, I mean, you got bad luck. Like, it's like very unfortunate that your horse ran away. The farmer replied, maybe. The next morning, the horse returned, bringing with it 3 other wild horses. How wonderful, the neighbor told the farmer. The farmer replied again, maybe. The following day, his son tried to ride one of the untamed horses to where he was thrown off, and he ended up breaking his leg. The neighbor again came to offer their sympathy on his misfortune. Maybe, answered the farmer. The day after, military officials came to the village to draft young men into the army. Seeing that the son's leg was broken, they passed him by. The neighbors congratulated the farmer on how well things had turned out. Maybe, again, said the farmer. So, I mean, you saw good and bad happen to the farmer, and both sides, good and bad, came out. So, I think it's something for all of us, every person, to remember that when things happen to you, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's good or bad. You should always like think whatever you believe in, and like remember that like there's a long term that you should really like go after, and like thinking that like not everything bad that happens is necessarily bad. If you are to bring good out of something bad, then I mean, is it bad anymore?
And even that taking something bad and turning it into something good, the most important part would be the journey, right? Getting through, being patient. So that's kind of what I took from that story, right? Be patient, whether you're struggling now or you were struggling before. We always go through these points in our life where everything's a little bit more down, everything's a little bit more stressful, everything's a little bit harder. But then we also go through the points where, you know, you're at the peak of the mountain almost. So knowing that the storm will pass, right? Knowing that the storm will pass eventually is a key part.
I mean, it's about the struggle, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna fall, whether it's like literally or, you know, metaphorically. You're gonna fall. The important thing is, you know, picking it back up. I mean,
What's the quote? What's the
Oh,
quote?
man.
He said it. And no matter how
How
like, hard you fall,
yeah.
it matters how hard you get back up.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean that's what learning is, and I feel like we lose a lot of that. You know, when we go to universities like this, and you expect it to be at your A game the whole time, but like in real life, you learn from making mistakes.
Yeah.
There's no other way to learn.
Yeah. I think it's not a mistake if you learn from it. It's a lesson.
It's a great way to think about it.
Go ahead, Ziad.
You guys just referenced Iraqi Balboa, by the way, phrase. Yep. It's no matter how hard you get punched, it's about standing up and punching it back even harder.
Yeah.
Getting back and attacking you straight up.
I mean, life is the hardest hitter, right? Like nothing's gonna hit you harder than life is.
That's true. And I think like tying this back into gratefulness, I think that's one reason I'm grateful for OBH, right? I think that's a lesson I've learned through being around these guys, right? And being always pursuing this mission that we see as an organization, right? I think that's a lesson that I've learned.
We got the quote pulled up. It's
Let's
life
see.
ain't about hard you can. It's life ain't about how hard you can hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward.
Yep.
So we all butchered it before.
Yeah, we all
We
butchered
paraphrased,
it
we
completely.
We do not remember Rocky that well.
What
That's
else?
a disappointment.
What else are you guys grateful for within OBH?
Before we talk about that, let me tell you guys this. I don't disagree with what's been said so far about the struggle and learning from your mistakes and the journey. And I really do believe in that we all make mistakes, and it's very important. And I know everyone talks about that and the
Yeah.
idea of learning from your mistakes, but like, I think what's really important and what complements that and makes it actually work is being aware.
Mm-hmm.
I think being aware and being observant of what's happening around you and what like the people that you surround yourself with, because a lot of the times you're surrounded, especially in OBH for example, you're surrounding yourself with people who are experiencing similar journeys, whether it is academic journeys or life journeys in general, and they might make a mistake, right? And as their friend, you're supposed to be there to help them through it and support them through it, but also be aware of it and be observant of it so you don't make the same mistake.
And I think even with that is like making them aware of it.
Yes.
Right.
The idea of awareness, I think a lot of people in today's age, I'm actually like, that's something that I actually think about, are not aware. They might have all this information, like, you know, we talk about the age of information and how easy access to information, but having the information doesn't make you aware of it.
Yeah.
And people are not aware of a lot of the things that happen.
Especially not just like in that. It's just that they're unaware because they don't go look for it. It's just that their minds are not just like trying to keep up with everything.
Mm-hmm.
They're not looking in that dimension, kind of. If you know what I'm
Yeah.
like.
To
what
add
I
on
mean.
to that too, I mean, with the way technology is moving, like something tragic can happen one week. You'll talk about it and you'll see it for 1 week. The next week, something like not only it's not something that would happen again. It just your mind would like switch.
I already
Like
saw that. What's next?
Every week is
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
And you know, that's the sad thing about like the world we live in, because like something tragic will happen, but because you're not in that area, or like, you know, you don't live there, or like somebody that you know is not affected, no matter what, like it's kind of something that's like, you know, it's tragic, but it's put in the back of your head as a human being. And I feel like I've seen that a lot, especially like in the Middle East and like more recently like Palestine. Like Palestine, like for the past like few years, I could remember like, I don't know, probably like, you know, every few years there will be something massive that'll happen in Palestine. It'll get some attention, and then they're neglected again and again. And you
And
know,
you don't talk about it again. I mean, us as Arabs living here, we're not always like
yeah,
like, even us. We're like victim of this as well.
yeah, and even like, you know, Sudan, like I did not know anything was going on in Sudan because it's like simply like, you know, you live in a Western society, and like, you know, Middle Eastern topics, like I wouldn't know about it if like, you know, my family's not very like traditional, or like if I'm like not proud of my Arab heritage.
One quick thing I want to add to this. I think also, and this isn't just for Arabs, but for everyone. I think it's very important to take it as your responsibility to learn about your history, to learn about your people, because especially when you, like, I know we talked about privilege and living in the US, and it's a very great privilege, but especially when you're living somewhere abroad, right? Or you're different a little bit. If you don't teach yourself, then who's going to teach your kids? Who's going to teach your friends? Who's going to teach your little brothers, your little siblings?
Half of the job is to educate yourself, but you also gotta educate other people, because who else is going to do it if not for us? You know, like we're the one. This is our home. You know, we can't rely on someone else to let everybody know what's going on. Like we have to. It's our job as the ones that are privileged, as the ones that are here, that have access to all these, you know, these commodities that we get every day. It's our job to do that.
Yeah.
If every single person says I don't want to do it, then who's gonna do it? You know?
Oh, I mean, and with that, it takes one person to spread it. Whoever takes it for what it is, and whoever like goes on and teaches it again, it will just keep spreading. And especially when it's the truth and it's what you believe in the truth, to like the truth to be, you'll have the passion to go out and do it, and to go out and teach.
I mean, right now it's the easiest. It's the easiest that it's ever been, right? Especially with social media and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, like one post can go viral, and now like millions of people know about something that they didn't before. That's crazy to me. It's like one voice can have so much impact.
It takes 5 seconds, like 2 clicks to share something. Like,
And the fact that there are so many false rumors and news going around is also a little bit of a push to why, like, you should take initiative and you should spread the right news that should be going around instead.
Yeah.
So staying like quiet and letting someone else spread false news, false rumors, whatever it is being being complicit in that as well.
And there's always like two sides of like, you know, history. And that's why you always have to stay on the right side, because you're always going to hear like either the perspective of the oppressed or the oppressor.
Just stand up for what you believe in. That's it. If you believe in something, as long as you stand up for it, that just like comes like being, it just shows what like person you are as well.
It goes back to gratitude. You know, we show gratitude through that, like through doing the things that we can. We show how thankful we are to the people that came before us and the people that don't have that, you know, that don't have that option.
not only that, like, it's, you could think about it like when you were a little kid, they would teach you about bullying. Be an upstander, not a bystander. Don't, if you think it's wrong, don't just sit and watch. Go and do something about it. Take initiative. Like, no one's gonna do it if like no one's talking about it or no one cares. Like, how is someone gonna talk about something or care about something that they don't even know about?
I feel like, Jafar, I think it's hard now, especially because, yes, like I talked about how easy it was to share information, but I mean, that goes both ways, especially for the people that have money and power. Like, it's so much easier for them to get what their agendas across. And that's why I feel like it kind of demotivates a lot of us. It's like, you know, we see all these things, like we see us, like, truly, it looks like everyone is doing what they can and doing their best, and it's still like amounting to nothing just because of the people that are in power and the people that have that power over us. Like, it's kind of demotivating, I think.
But then it just comes back to patience, right? Like we said earlier.
Yeah.
You do what you can, right? You if you know that you're giving it your all, right? And you just have to be patient. You have to wait for the results to come.
And going back to like initiative, if you're talking about like the people with like more money who have a bigger platform or more of an outlet to do it, I mean, they started somewhere. You have, like, although it's demotivating seeing that they have like a head start or like a better privilege, they started somewhere with that.
Yeah, but it was handed to them more likely than it was.
But everyone starts somewhere. It started somewhere, you know. Like, they had to build that up.
Yeah, but starting the son of a rich politician is easier than starting the son of an immigrant.
But even that rich politician, he had to get there like somehow.
Even outside of that, there are situations where people have tried, like, truly given it their all and it's worked out. And
Oh yeah,
it was
100%.
completely
I'm not doubting that at all.
Like, big revolutions across the world, they started with like one man who wanted to take initiative. Usually,
This is the
Like,
thing.
more or less than-
Yeah, it's the power of the people more than anything.
I
you know?
don't disagree, but I want to push back on a couple ideas. First of all, I think we always hear about one man changing or one individual changing the system or leading a revolution, but it's because this is how we're taught history and because it's easier. Because when you look at it, there's one person who's at the top of the prism or the top of the what triangle, right? Who's the
who
leader?
started it? Yeah,
But
founded it.
I don't think he started it. I think it came down to a bunch of people who were aware of things and who educated themselves on certain things and came together. And maybe one of them was the spokesperson or the recognized the face, but that doesn't mean that it came from one man. And that relates to the idea. I'm sorry, I'm gonna talk a little bit. That relates to the idea that I want to push back also on the idea of like social media and posting and it takes 5 seconds. I don't disagree that social media and posting can lead us to good places and can educate people, right? But I think it's very dangerous to think that's all what you can do. Because I hear a lot of people saying that's all what we can do. It takes 5 seconds. It's easy. And I think that's great. But I think all you can do, you can educate yourself more. You as a Arab, or you as a Sudani, or you as someone from the Congo, for example, or Armenian, or whatever we're talking about, right? You can do the 5 seconds of posting.
Like, you're saying that should be like the bare minimum? At this point?
And then you can educate yourself. I don't want you to go do anything else other than educate yourself. And the idea of educating yourself and having two different ways, or two sides to everything. I don't disagree that there's multiple sides to everything, but I think it's important to educate yourself on all sides.
And then you make a decision on what you believe in.
Actually understand the other side's point. Because just like how you feel so powerfully about something and you're so passionate about something, trust me, someone on the exact other side feels the exact same emotions to the other side.
And they're just
so you need to understand that.
Yeah, and they're just as confused on why you're doing what you're doing as well.
So you need to understand both sides so you can even strengthen your side even better.
I think with a lot of people, it's to them, they see it as it's all or nothing, kind of, unless they can fix the whole problem. But what's the point of doing anything small? But I think if we all just like did what was in our power, I mean, one conversation can truly really like change a person. If you sit down and you talk to someone, just talk to them and let them know how you feel and how you think, and be open to hearing how they feel and how they think. I think that's the most like such a beneficial thing that we can do, and that's very easily within our power.
So with that being said, and like conversations and everything, as much as you are passionate about something and you want to push for something, I think it's always like, it should be a general rule of like society and life. Just be polite. You don't gotta go out yelling. You don't gotta go out like, because when you do that, like that's some people's first impression of you. And if you're going out, like, why would they even listen to you if like you're going out not in a polite and with manners? If you walk up to someone like with a smile, or like with your like in a polite way, they're gonna be more likely to listen to you. And like if you're calm about it, even if they don't believe in what you're saying, they could take something from that conversation. And I believe if you do it in a polite way.
That is very true as well, but at the same time, polite or not polite, I truly believe it's in how you approach something. So like thinking of like whatever it is, it's about taking into matter like different perspectives, taking that person, taking into consideration and assuming that person is a very ignorant person, whoever it is, for example. Even if you don't like this, if you disagree with them in a very like serious matter or whatever, just take it into consideration that this is like an opportunity for you yourself to put in a little bit of effort and educate that person in front of you. And at the same time, it's like about how you approach like whatever problem you go about, being polite or how you handle it. It's about showing that person that at the same time I'm listening to you, but you're going about it wrong. Not as in like you're going about it wrong, I don't want to hear you, like whatever it is.
Something also that I'd like to mention is, I heard this like yesterday actually. Don't in a conversation, don't wait to reply. Listen to what they're saying and take it in, and then reply. Don't like just wait for them to finish and then just reply.
That's a great quote.
Because like you don't really get anywhere in a conversation like that. You're just both like talking about something, but you're not hearing each other.
I think with like arguments and debates, right? I think a lot of people enjoy arguing, and a lot of people just go in, like you're saying, with just, I'm going to say what I need to say, and I'm going to do everything I can to convince them, right? Whereas a debate is more of like, okay, let's sit down. Let's both talk about our sides and come to a conclusion. And if you can't come to a conclusion, that's fine. But as long as you're putting in that effort of like, let's genuinely sit down and just talk.
And listen.
Mm-hmm.
Listen and take in everything.
Yeah.
All right, boys. I think it's time we wrap this up.
Yeah.
I think we got our mission across and everything. We talked about what we wanted to talk about. It's just a little introduction episode, so it won't be too long. Shouldn't be too long. Anyone want to say anything?
If you guys have any comments, if you guys want to reach out, let us know how it was. Let us know if there's anything specific you guys would like to hear. any specific talking points, let
Let
us know.
Let us know if there's anyone you want us to bring on,
Mhm.
because we can try to get it figured out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll make it happen.
But most importantly, just stay posted.
Yeah, we'll be having more coming out soon. We'll be talking about the history more and bringing people on. So, yep, hope you guys liked it.